The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Let me just say, after Vera distorting the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Hey everybody, good evening and welcome. It is indeed time. It's great to be back with another season, another year of the ACHA Power Play. Hi everybody, yours truly, Captain Lou, again behind the chair for season number 7 of the ACHA Power Play. We first started doing it back in 2016, I believe. And yes, indeed we did. So this is season number 7 and great to be with you here talking hockey, American Collegiate Hockey style. And again, we're going to have a great year. The road to the road to St. Louis has begun already for a lot of the schools. Most of the teams either are opening up this weekend or they're going to be, they've already played. The University of Iowa, who we're going to be talking to, their head coach in the next hour at the beginning of the second hour, head coach Kevin Brooks. They started on September 1st with a weekend set. So a lot of the teams are going already, getting ready for Boston. And it is, November, December, January, 5 months from actually right about now. They'll be midway through the men's Division I and the men's Division III national tournament down in St. Louis. So indeed, the road to Boston, or road to St. Louis, it's going to take me a while to get used to that again. As we always said, the road to Boston. So we got a lot to talk about here tonight. And again, we got a couple of great special guests to kick off season number 7 of the ACHA Power Play tonight. Coming up at the bottom of the hour in about 28 minutes. We're going to be having I'm going to butcher his last name, Wyatt Waselwenchuk, the head coach of the University of Minot State University, the defending men's Division I champions. They had quite the road to the championship game in the national tournament last year. A couple of overtime games and then another nail biter right at the end against Adrian, 1-0 to capture the national championship. So Wyatt's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Always gracious with his time. And then at the top of the second hour here, we're going to be joined by the head coach of the University of Iowa, Kevin Brooks. Who can forget that memorable game that they had in the semifinals in Division II, a double overtime winner over Indiana. And then they went on to take on the University of Massachusetts in the championship game. But unfortunately, they fell a little short. But they're off to a great start this year as well, undefeated, as they look to make another run to the national tournament. We'll talk to Kevin about that. They had a little bit more difficult of a path to get there in Division II than a lot of teams do, going to the regional tournament and having to run the gauntlet, 3 games in 3 days, win or go home, just like how they do it in the men's national tournament in Division I. So great guests lined up as always here. And we invite you as always to drop a line to us, sweetlou1965@yahoo.com. That is the number, or that is the number. That is how you can drop me an email with any suggestions you may have. Follow us on X, which I'm still going to call Twitter. Lewis Gamlin is actually Twitter at the Real Captain Lou. Can you tell it's the first show for the ACHA Power Play? A little bit rusty, maybe a tad nervous, and it's funny. As long as I've been doing this and how many years I've been doing broadcasting, 40 some years now, I still get nervous at the beginning of a show. You always want to do it right. And so we are, again, if I make a couple of mistakes tonight, just bear with me here. So anyways, drop us a line, sweetlou1965@yahoo.com, or drop me, follow us on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, at Real Captain Lou, Instagram and Facebook, Lewis Gamlin, and also follow our page, the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. We'll have updates on this show there as well. And again, always as well, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. That's how we generate these shows as well. You can watch any archived interview or whatever of the ACHA Power Play, the Captain Lou Extravaganza, whatever. Make sure that you check that out as well. So that's how you can find us. And we're sponsored by SeatGeek and Macintosh and Associates. Great to have them on board this year as sponsors of the ACHA Power Play. Of course, SeatGeek, the official secondary market sponsor of all Michigan and Michigan State athletics. So, all right, we'll get that out of the way as well. So again, as we mentioned, we've got Kevin Brooks coming up at 8 o'clock, Wyatt Waselwenchuk from Minot State University coming up here in the bottom of the hour. So for those of you that may be tuning in to the ACHA Power Play for the first time, what we try to do, we try to get at least 2 or 3 guests each week. We're on 90 minutes, 7 o'clock. We're going to go every other Wednesday here for the first couple of months. Then once Thanksgiving rolls around, we're going to go full bore. December, January, February, right up until the national tournament. We'll be on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, bringing you players, guest interviews, executive members. I've talked to Craig Barnett in the past, the executive director. He'll be on probably, if not the next show, but the one after that, probably towards the end of October. We'll get the lowdown on what's going on in his world. A lot of exciting stuff going on with the ACHA. 32nd year, I believe, is what it is. I might be off a year on that, but exciting news. St. Louis is going to be the place to be for the national tournament this coming March 2024, I believe 2025, 27 and 28 with an option year for 26. So that's going to be the hub for it. It's a great location for it. If you've never been to a national tournament for the ACHA, I highly recommend you going. You get 78 teams convening in one area. It's going to be a 10-day affair next year in St. Louis from the 7th until the 17th of March this year. And it's going to be at the Centene Center in St. Louis. It's just outside of St. Louis. We were there a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it was. And, oh, man, there was so much great hockey there. It's a beautiful venue. They've got 3 rinks right there. And then I know Marysville also helps out with some of the tournaments as well. They're going to be working in conjunction with the Centene Center. So 7th through the 17th is what the national tournament is going to be. I invite you to go there. It's great collegiate hockey. You've got 5 divisions, as we've always talked about, 3 on the men's side, 2 on the women's side. Just kind of give you an idea with the men's Division I tournament. They're going to start the 7th through the 12th. It's kind of a wraparound weekend deal. And then the men's Division II tourney is going to begin on March 11th. They're going to go Monday through Friday, I believe. That's how that works. And then the D3 national tournament is also going to run in right about the same time as the D1 nationals. It's just, you get pool play in the men's Division II and the men's Division III rounds. The women's tournament is going to be from the 13th through the 17th. And then the D2 tournament is going to be the 12th through the 16th. And the formats, we talk about it all the time. The men's Division I and the women's Division I is a bracketed tournament. The men's Division I is single elimination, 20 teams. It's you get 8 conference automatic qualifiers and then 12 at-large bids for the national tournament. It's win or go home. There's some exciting hockey. We've had overtime games. The last time we were in St. Louis, we had the 5 overtime thriller. And I think this year we had a couple of overtime games. The closest we came was the Division II round in the semis between Indiana and Iowa, as I mentioned, a double overtime thriller with the goal scored at 18:30. Something tells me we might play that game-winning goal a little bit later on when Iowa's head coach comes on the show. But that's kind of how that format works. And women's Division I, as we mentioned, that is a single elimination, a double elimination with buys for the top teams. The men's, they have the top 4 teams, I think, get auto berths, or the top 8 rather. Then They have like opening round games. It's a lot of fun. We'll talk about it all throughout the year. We'll remind you probably 50 times at least to make sure that you get your plans set for March 7th through the 17th, 2024 in St. Louis for the national tournament with the ACHA. This will be, I first started covering the Nationals in 2016 in Grand Rapids with the men's Division III, and I've been hooked ever since. Have had the pleasure, I've been humbled to be able to cover the Nationals. We'll be there again next year in St. Louis. Some great tournaments. We were in Columbus for a couple of years, in Dallas, and then in St. Louis, and then in Boston last year. Now back to St. Louis coming up. So again, with 78 teams, college hockey at its finest, women's and men's. It's these kids, this is for a lot of them, this is their last go round. Not a lot of them, a few go play professionally afterwards, but the percentage of that is pretty low. So these kids give it all. They play for the love of the game. And the parents and the fans that come from all over the country, Iowa packed them in. It was great watching that championship game. The University of Massachusetts had pretty much their student body come over to watch them play in that championship game. And they stood behind UMass. It was a great atmosphere, and it always is. And again, St. Louis is going to be the host. They were very gracious a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Really looking forward to being a part of it this year. And so getting back to how we do our format on the show, again, it is we try to get 2 or 3 guests on the show each week. Like I said, coaches, players, administrators, broadcasters, get a little bit of insight from all over. We're going to try to go all over the country, every division, men's, women's, D1, D2, D3. I can't thank the players and the coaches enough for coming on to make this show possible. Without them, it obviously wouldn't be possible. And obviously without you, the viewer, for taking time out to watch it, it wouldn't be possible as well. So again, my thanks to you for kind of humoring me and being a small part of this, because I really do enjoy it. So, all right, that's enough of that. Want to kind of take a quick look last year at the 2022 national tournament. And boy, it was in Boston, as we mentioned already numerous times on the show. We had some new champions crowned. We had some defending champions not quite be able to hold serve, if you will. The team that repeated again, women's D1, they're a factory. They're a dynasty. If there ever was a dynasty, it was the Liberty Flames women Division I team. They had a tough one in the championship game against Minot State. They were looking to dethrone Liberty, but they fell just short. Again, Liberty, Chris Lowe's team, 3-2 win over Minot State. We'll have Chris on a little bit later on again this year. Another great run for them. It wasn't quite the cakewalk that they've had in the past, but again, when you've got that target on your back, and it is so tough to repeat and to keep repeating, that Liberty was able to win 3-2. So they are repeat champions, the only repeat champions that we had coming into the 2023/2024 season. In Division I, we talked about Minot State, Wyatt Waselwenchuk's team. They had some nail biters. They started out with a rather easy game, 8-0 over Michigan Dearborn, but they ran into an Indiana Tech team. Head coach Frank DeCristofaro's team took them to overtime. That was quite the game, 4-3. Liberty took Minot State to overtime in the semis, and then Gary Astalis' team, looking to repeat, they took Minot State right to the bitter end. 1-0 was the final score in that one. So again, we have a new Division I champion in Minot State. Not their first championship, but they are now the reigning champions. In Division II, University of Mary was going for a three-peat. They got beat in pool play. And so St. Cloud State took on UMass. UMass won that one. They jumped out to a big lead in the semis, then had to hang on for dear life. They took on Iowa. Iowa took on Indiana. Iowa was a 4 seed in their pool play. They went through, they won their pool, and then played Indiana in the semis, double overtime. They scored at the 18:30 mark. I got to be honest with you. I thought it was going into 3 overtimes in that one. One of the most thrilling hockey games that I've ever had the privilege of calling. They ended up playing UMass, and UMass won that one by the score of 4-0. So they're brand new D2 champions. D3, Hope was going for a three-peat. They made it all the way to the finals. They made it through pool play. Again, Michigan dominating the state of Michigan, dominating men's Division III. Another champion out of the MCHC, the Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference. But it was Michigan this time. They exercised some demons. They've been close so many years. Hope's been their nemesis. Arkansas, you name it, Grand Valley. But they were able to exercise their demons, get to the championship game. Jumped out to a decent-sized lead, but Hope made it interesting in the third period. But Cal Stripling's team, they were able to get over the hump. They got to taste victory. Now they're the defending men's Division III champions with a 5-3 win over Hope. And then on the women's D2 side, we saw, you talk about a wrecking crew. That was Sioux College. They went through and their pool play unscathed, obviously. Took on a Northeastern team that was a 4 seed in their pool and just kind of flexed their muscles in that one. A big win, 6-1. So that's kind of a look back at the national tournament in 2023 earlier this year in Boston. We want to thank the folks there for hosting that all in one barn. It was fun, and it was a great experience to see all the folks there. Rasty McGibbon doing the intermission interviews and after the game interviews that you can see on YouTube. And so I'm sure he'll be back to the Nationals in Boston. We'll try to get Rasty on a little bit later on this year. He went overseas with the select teams. They did quite well over there. We'll talk to Rasty about that too. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the rankings are out for the Division I men's team, and we'll see men's teams rather. We'll see who is number one and who's chasing them. You're watching the ACHA Power Play live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Powered up, by the way, by Belly Up Sports.
It's the biggest game of the year, and your team doesn't have a coach. They don't even have a game plan. You probably aren't feeling very good about their chances. Make sure you're prepared for one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, retirement. Do you have a coach? What about a plan? Set yourself up for success by calling 877-222-8849 and having Mindy and Nolan McIntosh and their team at McIntosh & Associates create your retirement playbook. They'll help you think through taxes, income, legacy planning, and much more. When you're done, you'll have a customized retirement game plan that you can feel confident in. Start planning today with Central Michigan's retirement coaches, Mindy and Nolan McIntosh at McIntosh & Associates. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here. You got your tickets for Spartan Stadium yet for Michigan State playing Central, maybe down the road against Michigan? Speaking of Michigan at the Big House, you got your tickets there for Ohio State or whoever they might play? Well, I've got just the answer if you don't. That's SeatGeek. They've got great seats available at great prices. You say you might want to go to Penn State later on this year for a ball game? Michigan's going there in November. I highly recommend checking out SeatGeek. They've got great seats, great prices, the best way to go to get your tickets. So if you want to go to Spartan Stadium or if you want to go to the Big House this fall, make sure you check out SeatGeek. And while you're there, use the promo code Captain Lou. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. That's SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek.com, the best place to go to get your tickets for this fall.
And don't forget, we've got hockey season starting up NHL style. And even NCAA for that matter. And, that's not the only, it's hockey. That's why I'm wearing the Charlestown Chiefs jersey. I'm geeked up. My Red Wings start tomorrow. But, hey, if you want to go to this team's games too, the up-and-coming Detroit Lions, you can go through the secondary market. Go to SeatGeek. You get great prices, great seats available. But you better hurry up for the Lions because they're going fast. And remember, use the promo code Captain Lou. You get $20 off your first purchase. And as we said, SeatGeek is the official secondary market of the Michigan Wolverines and the Michigan State Spartans. All right, welcome back again to the ACHA Power Play. We, as I mentioned, are powered up by Belly Up Sports. Want to take a minute to invite everybody to check out bellyupsports.com. All the latest articles on all the sports going on, all the playoffs right now in baseball. I hope your favorite team is still alive. Mine didn't even make it, obviously, Detroit. They've got articles on hockey, basketball, football, you name it, all the sports and entertainment. That's Belly Up Sports. And also check out our lineup of podcasts. We cover everything in the world of sports, from the ACHA to the NHL to NFL, you name it, NASCAR. That's the Belly Up network of podcasts. Great lineup, professional lineup, and they'll keep you laughing, and it's very informative. So bellyupsports.com. All right. Again, scheduled to join us in a little under 10 minutes, Wyatt Waselwenchuk from Minot State, the head coach. He is their team, Minot State, the defending men's Division I national champions, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. And he's going to join us at 7:30. We're going to see what's up in their world, how it feels to be the hunted now instead of the hunters, as they get set to defend. They're already defending their crown. They had a great start, a busy start to the year already. And then again, joining us at the top of hour number 2, it's going to be Kevin Brooks, the head coach of the University of Iowa, the Hawkeyes, with that great cliche-ish Cinderella run, if you will. But they made it all the way through the regionals, all the way to the national championship game in Division II. Kevin's going to join us at the top of hour number 2. We'll talk about that with him and the current season. They as well are off to a fantastic start. All right. What I want to do right now is we're going to put up on the screen here in a minute the latest rankings in the ACHA for men's Division I. You take the top 20 team, well, the 20 top teams, yes, they go to the national tournament. Again, we talked about it in St. Louis, March 7th. They're going to start their national tournament. How it works is you got 8 auto bids for the conference bids, and I'm going to go through those right now. The College Hockey Mid-America Conference, you got the Eastern Collegiate Hockey Association, the Eastern States Collegiate Hockey League, the Great Lakes Collegiate Hockey League, Midwest College Hockey, Northeast Collegiate Hockey League, the Western Collegiate Hockey League, and the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. So you get those 8 teams, and you get 12 at-large teams based on computer rankings. And I got to tell you, it's like last year. It comes down to the bitter, bitter end. I know last year in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference, the last bid came down to a semifinal game between Aquinas and Michigan Dearborn. And Michigan Dearborn was able to win that one. They got in with the last bid. So, it comes down to literally right to the last minute with some of these tournaments that are held, 2, 3, 4 weeks before the Nationals. And so it's fun. It's fun for people like me to be able to follow it and, keep an eye on it and, see, might see some last minute changes, but it's difficult for the coaches and players. I get it, but that's kind of, where it changes a lot. And so without any further ado, let's see if we can't bring those up here on our screen. And I think we've got it up right now. Indeed, we do. So if you look at it, Minot State, again, ranked number 1, undefeated, 6-0. They were ranked. They've got 25 out of the 27 first place votes. Adrian, undefeated as well. They have garnered, they're 4-0. They've got first place vote. Ohio, their blemish was an overtime loss to Calvin, who's ranked number 10 this week. They stay at number 3. Liberty, they've played quite the tournament quite the schedule already, as they always do. They're 2-3-1, but don't let that record fool you. They're at number 4, deservedly so. Central Oklahoma, a national powerhouse out of the Western Collegiate Hockey League. They're always there. They're ranked number 5. They've got a national title under their belts. Nevada, Las Vegas, they dropped 1 to number 6. You see them every year at the national tournament. Always do a great job. Jamestown is Niagara's in at number 8 this week. They jumped up a couple of spots from number 10. Maryville, right at where they were last week at number 9. Calvin jumped up 4 spots. They've had a good start to their season. They're going to be playing Utah this weekend. Utah is ranked in the top 20, as you can see at number 20. So they're going to be, Utah actually is playing tomorrow night in Grand Rapids against Grand Valley, who checks in this week at number 11. Indiana Tech fell a few spots to number 12. Then you got Arizona at 13. They dropped a couple. Pittsburgh, they're in at 14. Illinois State at 15. Michigan Dearborn undefeated. They're at 16. Arizona State at 17. They bumped up 4. Purdue Northwest, they're trying to make their way into a potential national tournament bid at number 18. Then you got Stony Brook at 19. We mentioned Utah at 20. University of Mary at 21. You know them. The incredible run that Dan Huntley's team has had at the Division II level. They came in the first year ineligible for the national tournament, but they racked up like 31 out of 36 wins. Then they went to the national tournament, won it 2 years in a row. Last year fell a little bit short. They have now bumped up to Division I status. They're up to number 21, up a couple of spots early in the season at 1-1-1. Lawrence Tech is at 22. And then you've got Missouri State at 23, Rhode Island at 24, and Grand Canyon at 25. So that's kind of a look at the top 25 in the national polls this week. And so we will have all the rankings, all the new ones that come out. We'll get, once the Division II and the Division III rankings come out, we will get those for you with the division or the regional rankings in Division II, because we all know how that works. They take the top 2 in each region, get the automatic berths into nationals, and then 3 through 14 play in a 3-day bracketed tournament. Lose or go home, win or go home, and for the last 2 spots to go to nationals. And in Division III for the men, they used to do the pool play or do the regionals, but now they just take the top 16 in computer rankings. And so it's there's a lot that goes into those. When we get those rankings, the new ones each week, we'll make sure to pass them along to you right here on the ACHA Power Play. So again, a lot with the usual suspects in the top 25. Minot State again on top. Until they get knocked off, I think they're going to stay there. And then Adrian, Gary Astalis' team right up there, undefeated. Ohio, always up there close. Not a whole lot of surprises up there. Niagara's really made a jump up into the top 10. They've been playing well, gradually making their way up and doing quite well over the years, trying to make some noise now at the Division I level. And we talked about some of the other teams. And then one of the newer teams at the Division I level, the University of Mary, they bring a lot of postseason pedigree. Now they step up to I'm not going to take anything away from the Division II level, but now they're at the top division. And so it's going to be fun to see how they can measure up with the other teams and make a run in Division I. We'll see if they can, throughout the year, bump their way up to garner one of those potential at-large bids, or win the Midwest Collegiate Hockey League and get that auto bid to get to the national tournament. All right, so in a moment here, we'll have Wyatt Waselwenchuk, and I see he's kind of getting his self situated there. So we're at the bottom of the hour, just about here on the ACHA Power Play. Again, thanks to everybody for joining us here tonight. Our premiere show, our 7th season here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. So without any further ado, let's bring in Wyatt Waselwenchuk, the head coach of Minot State. Wyatt, how are you, my friend?
Good, Lou. How are you doing? Boy, 7 years listening to you. That's wild.
I know, and they still want me to come back. How about that?
It's amazing, my friend. Good for you, and thanks for all that you do. Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I appreciate you taking time out. So I got to ask you, first of all, how was your summer?
It was busy. You know what? I obviously enjoyed our little experience there in Boston for a week or so, and then it was getting back into it with our North American League team. I'm still working with the goalies primarily there, and then I hit the road for about 6 weeks personally. I put on 9 goalie camps throughout the Midwest this summer, so I was putting on some miles, boy. It was a lot of goalies, but a lot of fun, and just working with a lot of goalies throughout this area, and we had a good summer. And then before you know it, you're back on the ice with these guys chasing them down. So pretty quick one for sure.
Did you improve your golf game at all?
You know what? I golfed as little as I have in about 4 or 5 years. I probably got 25 rounds in, which that's maybe 25% what I normally would have. So definitely was a little bit frustrating towards the end of it. But I told myself many times throughout my last few rounds, I think it's hockey season, so that's not a bad thing.
There you go. You go. Hey, you brought up Boston. I want to just take a couple of moments to talk about that. A hell of a run for you guys. But your run after the first game, you didn't make it easy on yourself. Boy, I'll tell you, some nail biters is probably an understatement.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny, right? Like, I even said that when we went over. We set a couple goals every week on Monday. Go through your practice week, you play your games, and you retouch on the past weekend on Monday and move on to the next one. And same kind of MO we always kind of stick with us is we never make things easy, right? We're up against a good team at UMary 4-1, and sure enough, next thing you know, it's a 4-3 game. And it always rubs me kind of the wrong way a little bit, because it seems on paper like we have the firepower to turn that into a 5 or 6-1 game, but it never seems to work that way. But you know what? We've got a good defensive core back there, and our goalies are great. And hey, I guess we like to make it interesting, but I'd prefer it to go the other way for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you celebrated for about a week. Is that about how long that the euphoria set in? And then was it hard to get back into the flow of starting to prepare, or because you had such a busy schedule, how was the transition into this year?
No, I think that I enjoyed it for a few days, but I think 2 or 3 days later, I was on the phone with some recruits, just because obviously we graduated 9 seniors and 4 fifth-year seniors that meant so much to us. And obviously we're bringing back a good-sized portion of our guys, but as soon as you start dwelling on what you've done in the past, then you're letting another good program maybe get a hold of somebody that you weren't in on. So we switched our gears pretty darn quickly, and luckily we were able to land some pretty darn good recruits and bring them in here to Minot, and they've had a darn good start for us. So no, it was, just kind of getting ready for the next one.
Wyatt, I look at your schedule, and obviously the quote unquote games that counted, you started out going to Liberty already, but you played a couple of exhibition games. That fascinates me. A couple of teams from Canada. How good were they? They're schools that I've never heard of.
Yeah. So CIS is inter-university sport in Canada, and for the most part, those teams are heavily dominated by Western Hockey League players. You play 2-3 years in the Western League, you get your schooling paid for at a Canadian university, is how it usually works. So, you know what, we've never really been able to secure those games. I recruit a lot against the University of Manitoba, University of Regina. So to get that game on the schedule and compete with them was obviously very good. They were a little light in terms of their roster, but still 10, 12 Western League players, and the rest are bona fide good Tier 2 players, Junior A players from Canada, from the BCHL or the Alberta Junior League. So for us to go there and compete was, I thought it was a pretty darn good showing for the ACHA. And they're a pretty darn good team at their level, but you know what? It's always that ACHA versus this or that, and how would we stack up? And you just never know, right? On paper, it's similar in terms of rosters, aside from, like I said, some of those major junior players, but. We had a pretty good showing, I thought, and then Briarcrest is playing in the ACAC. Which is an Alberta conference, and again, handful of Western League guys and a couple of major junior goalies that came there from out east, and they're a darn good program. Those would both be easily top 10 teams in the ACHA for sure. So it was nice, you know what, and from a recruiting standpoint, sometimes you lose out on some of those kids that want to stay close to home, near Winnipeg or near Regina, if you will, and play at those schools. And hey, now it's maybe that's not such a bad option going down to Minot. So it was a lot of fun to play someone different and test the waters at a different level. And our guys sure played pretty well.
We're joined here by Wyatt Waselwenchuk, the head coach of the defending men's Division I team, the Minot State, the Beavers, with some heart-stopping wins last year in the national tournament. That carrying over so far so well here in 2023/24. Wyatt, you ended up then you got to the regular season so far. Good start, 6-0, 4 of them against Liberty, a team that, knock on wood, you may see in the national tournament again. But no rest for the weary. Top-notch schedule with them and Jamestown sandwiched in between them.
Yeah, that was, you know what? It was kind of midsummer, as it always is here, and we're at the mercy of 4 or 5 other programs that we share our facility with. So it was kind of, like I said, midsummer, and I'm thinking, oh man, I don't know what we got for games here. And all of a sudden, we've got 42 on the schedule, and we're going to Jamestown.
Wow.
Or we're going to Liberty to start the season, and we've got 5 games in our first week, and it came in a hurry. But you know what? That's what I want. That's what our guys want. We want to play good teams night in and night out, and that's been the push for us as of late. Certainly is hey, come join the conference. Come, for me, the flexibility of being independent and having the backing like we do from our athletic department now is so nice. We're going to that showcase in Chicago where we're playing ASU, Ohio, UNLV. We're going to UNLV. Wow. We went to Liberty. It's nice. And, to be able to play top-notch teams, I mean, that's what you want. You don't have to win every single night. We want to be ready for that national tournament. We want to play the best, and our guys want to be there at the end of the day. And it's nice for sure being able to kind of have that flexibility, and that's what I always want. I always want to have the best teams here, and we'll travel anywhere. I mean, that's if you're going to make a trip to Minot, we're going to come to you for sure. And even in the same breath, usually it's us going somewhere for a year or two, and I love it. I mean, there's nothing better than going and playing spoilers on the road, as we were fortunate enough to do at Liberty. That midnight game on Friday night as your home opener as a team, you're shaking in your boots a little bit, just because that's not an atmosphere you get to play in every day. So we love it. You know what? Our guys love playing on the road. We're used to being on the bus, and we're pretty comfortable in those situations.
You and I have talked a couple of times about this, about the quality of hockey, we're in North Dakota where you're at. And now you've got the University of Mary. They're up to Division I. I know you've played them already in the past, but now they're in with you guys, another team that is vying for one of those coveted spots in the national tournament.
Yeah, it certainly adds, another log to the fire, if you will. It's always been such a great rivalry just between the schools. We're only an hour and a half down the road from one another, but now to have these games, mean something in terms of the ranking, in terms of your standings, is super important. And I thought that on Saturday night there at UMary during their home opener, we had a little extra jump, right? And that's not to downplay how we took those games the previous 3-4 seasons by any means. We always obviously got up for them, but you could tell a little something more is on the line. So they're gonna they have a great program once again this year, a great team, and they're gonna have a real good one in the future here to continue that rivalry between us. And man, half our schedule between Jamestown and UMary, you're gonna be in pretty good hands in terms of having some good competition on your hands.
You mentioned you're going to be playing in Chicago for the ACHA Showcase. How did that come about? Is that something they do every year? Or is this just something new?
We did it 2 years ago. Joe Caprio there, who was at Illinois, he kind of headed that 2 years ago. There's a little bit of a scheduling conflict, if you will, with the Blackhawks. It was at their practice facility. But hats off to him. He's worked so hard to continue with that and bring it back this year, and to have 6 or 8 top teams there is going to be a lot of fun for us, and a lot of very good hockey in a very short period of time. I think both games we play at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, Sunday against UNLV and Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we may have lost your audio here for a second. Let me. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, someone was calling me.
No, no worries, no worries. So you've got that, and then I look. You're going to be playing Denver and Colorado College around Christmas break.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun too. Well, fun maybe for me, might be a little hectic for you, but that's going to be fun to keep an eye on.
Yeah, you know what? It's just the opportunity to play at the highest level of collegiate hockey. We're going to go out there and compete and be ready to go just like we're playing anybody. But you know what? It's not about the results. It's about the experience and opening our eyes to what it takes to play at that level, right? I mean, we want to continue to push, and we're going to learn a lot from both of those teams. And I have I wouldn't say a relationship, but I'm aware of both of their coaches and how they do things just through the North American Hockey League. I've got one of our ex-Toros playing at CC and one at Denver. So it'll be nice to connect with those guys. And it'll be a real fun experience. And, for a little school in North Dakota to be able to go play the big dogs at the NCAA Division I level is pretty darn cool. I know that it's been done a little bit in the past with a couple of our bigger schools, Liberty and UNLV, but for a school where most people are saying, where the heck is that? It's it's pretty cool, and the buzz around town is awesome. I mean, we're going to travel really well for that. Our athletic department is putting together a whole bunch of alumni stuff in Denver, so it'll be a lot of fun. You know what? It's an incredible honor that they reached out, and you know what, we're going to prepare just like any other game, and we're going to go out there and try and represent the ACHA and our university as well as we can.
Oh, I know you'll do great representing the ACHA. I have no worries about that. Wyatt, I see right off the bat, Troy Hamilton and Reed Arnold and Jay Buckholz, just to name a few, are off to great starts. Reed with 5 goals, Troy with 4, Jay with 3. Also Carter Barley. You're getting some good contributions from a lot of different guys so far this year.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I talked about our depth last season, and it seems to be picking up right where we left off. Those guys mean so much to us, and we're not a one-trick pony. We don't have one line. It's 4 lines that go, and even our freshman line, Logan Cisa, Walker Jerome, Trenton Curtis, and then we have Ryan Monias, who's kind of shifted in and out with a couple of the other guys, have been just so good for us. And all 4 of them had great junior careers. 2 of those guys, Walker and Trenton, 50-plus points in the Saskatchewan Junior League last year. I mean, to consider that, quote-unquote, your 4th line is pretty remarkable at our level. So we returned our top 9 forwards, if you will, and guys like Reed Arnold and Jay Buchholz, I mean, they mean so much to us. And it's nice that they're getting rewarded, but they're the first guys, behind Josh Peterson, but they're the second, third guys over the bench, killing every power play and on the ice, taking faceoffs in the D zone in crucial times of games. So those guys just do it the right way, and that's always been my thought process, is when you do things the right way away from the puck, good things will happen in the offensive zone as well. And off to a good start for sure, and I've been really happy with our forwards thus far.
So how does it feel to be the hunted right now instead of the hunters?
Well, feels about the same. I don't know. You know what? I've said it a couple times on a couple of these shows. It doesn't matter who you're playing. When you got that beaver on your chest, for whatever reason, you're getting the best goalie out of anybody. You're getting the best team out of anybody you play. And, we've been fortunate enough over the last 5-6 years to kind of be ranked relatively high for the most part. When you're up there at the top of the heap, you're like you said, going to be getting hunted. So, again, though, we wouldn't want it any other way. These guys want to play the best every night and want to play the best teams that are available. And, you know what? We're excited about the position we're in, but the season's, incredibly young. And
oh yeah,
last year's last year, but I do like where we're at in terms of where we're at as a team. Can we clean a lot up for sure? And still a few of those new guys that are on board and are doing a pretty darn good job can still, learn a little bit. And, we've got a real good leadership group this year with Carter wearing our C, and those guys make it pretty easy on me. I'll be honest. I don't need to do a lot of motivating. It's a pretty darn motivated group. We're a veteran team, and they make it a lot of fun coming to the rink every day.
The season's long. It's like, you start practice in August and you got till March. How do you guard against the lull in the middle of the year?
Well, you know what? We've got 2 weeks coming up where we have actually off weekends.
Okay.
The end of October, which I think it's not a bad thing at all. And, maybe that's not necessarily by design. A couple things fell through with a couple teams in North Dakota here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a good thing just to be a college athlete, right? Like our whole team was at the volleyball game last night and enjoying that. And there's more to life than hockey, right? And I think that's such a big part of it too, whether it's, our team does a team bowling league. Like they're tight, right? And they're always doing something. They play, knock on wood, it's not my favorite thing, but they all have a little basketball team in our intramural basketball league. And we keep it fun, right? Like they're as tight a group as I've seen. And I felt the same way about it last year. And I think even this year we might even be a little more close-knit, which is crazy to me because that team meant so much to one another. And I think just keeping it fun too. And my coaching philosophy is not to hammer these guys into the ground every day. Give me an hour of hard work every day. Give me an hour at your lift every day. And the rest of the day is yours to focus on your school or, like I said, have a little bit of fun. And I do think also the ability and just geographically where we are as a team, having relatively everybody close to home is nice. We'll send them home next week. We'll probably practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, send them home Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's nice, right? Like being able to go home and connect with family and friends and get away from the rink a little bit. And then obviously this year it's nice having those games at Denver. We're going to have a Christmas and Minot together as a team, and they're going to have a 5-day Christmas break as opposed to a 3-week Christmas break. And keeping those guys engaged is going to be awesome. And obviously they're going to be super excited and motivated to go and play those games. So just keeping it light and reading your team and how we're feeling and our energy levels. And those are things that myself and my staff are always monitoring. And for the most part, these guys love coming to the rink. If we could skate for 2 hours a day, we would. But, I guess unfortunately they're supposed to go to class. So we have a lot of fun around here. The guys love it in Minot. And, we like to keep it light when we can.
Has any of them come up to you? I know you said you kind of cringe when they play basketball. How about anybody try to go up for the rugby team off of your team yet?
No rugby. No, although I have a couple forwards this year. That Sheldon Howard and my new guy Ryan Monias would be, probably some bigger guys on the football team this year. But we'll try and keep them off the turf.
Okay, now here's the important question: are any of them better golfers than you are?
Oh yeah, for sure. Arnold.
I thought, not the way you talked in the spring. Yeah. I thought you were about a scratch golfer.
No, I'm not there.
Okay.
I know Reed Arnold. He gives it to me quite often, just about how good he is. He works at a golf course all summer.
Okay.
I guess he's a stick, and I'm sure there's probably a handful that I would have a tough time with. But no, haven't really golfed with any of the guys, unfortunately. But I know they like to play for sure. There's a simulator in town. I know that the guys go and hit some balls a couple times a week here and there too. So they have a lot of fun with it.
So I know you probably don't get a whole lot of time to watch, but are you interested to see how Connor Bedard's going to do for the Blackhawks?
I am. You know what? I grew up as an LA Kings / Chicago Blackhawk fan, and he's actually sitting in the room. My old man's here from Vancouver, BC. He's here for the weekend, and I don't know. I grew up. He had some roots in California, so I grew up as a Kings fan. He was a transplant from Canada, so you got to pick a team when you move to the States, and he was in LA, and Gretzky was there, and but we always kind of liked the Blackhawks a lot as well. So kind of exciting having them there, and then obviously there's a bit of a Vancouver connection, having a young man from where I'm from, and he sure looks like a special player. You always kind of have that thought, is that going to translate to the NHL? And boy, oh boy, it sure looks like it's going to. So he's going to be a fun one to watch for a lot of years.
I had talked to Rod Peterson. He does shows up in Canada.
Yep.
And we were talking, and I said, who does he remind you of? And he said, Lou, I'm going to tell you something. He said, I asked him the same. He said, who do you model your game after? Is Crosby or whoever? He said, I'm me. And that's it. I love that confidence. That line that's so awesome. And I can't wait to see him. We're planning a trip, knock on wood, the Lions keep it going. They'll host a playoff game that weekend.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks are going to be in Detroit at Little Caesars that weekend. I've already got my motel room, so that's going to be my chance to see him. That
would be excellent for sure. Yeah, that's pretty generational talent, obviously. And I'm a YouTuber. I scroll YouTube quite often, and I watched like a 15-minute highlight tape of all of his goals last year, and it's just wild what he does with the puck. It's a lot of fun for sure.
Well, Wyatt, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Really enjoyed talking hockey with you. I appreciate it being on the first show of the 7th season, and keep up the great work. And I promise you, I am still working on getting out there to watch.
I know. I was going to mention that. I'm going to hold you to it. If you need a cheap hotel, you reach out and you let me know, Lou. That would be awesome to have you here for sure.
All right. Again, good luck the rest of the year. If I don't talk to you before, hopefully the national tournament, we'll try to get you on maybe sometime in February. Keep it up. And again, thanks for coming on, Wyatt.
Sounds great. Thanks, Lou. And thanks again for all that you do.
You bet. Wyatt Waselwenchuk, the head coach of Minot State, #1 ranked right now in the ACHA men's polls, off to a 6-0 start. 4 of their 6 games against Liberty, 2 down at their barn, and then a couple of close games this past week or so. And then, of course, a game sandwiched in between with Jamestown, ranked in the top 10. I think there's 7. And, of course, the University of Mary, who, as we talked about, they're making the jump now to Division I. So, all right, we still got a lot to talk about. We've got Kevin Brooks coming on here in about 8 minutes or so. He's the head coach of the University of Iowa. Can't wait to talk to him about that amazing run that they had last year, getting through regionals all the way to the championship game as a 4 seed in pool play. And, that's no small feat in itself. So really excited to talk to Kevin. So, all right, we're going to take a break first. We come back, we'll talk a little more about what's going on in the world of the ACHA and a whole lot more. So stick around. You're watching the ACHA Power Play, and it's live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube, powered up by Belly Up Sports.
Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here. You got your tickets for Spartan Stadium yet for Michigan State playing Central, maybe down the road against Michigan? Speaking of Michigan at the Big House, you got your tickets there for Ohio State or whoever they might play? Well, I've got just the answer if you don't. That's SeatGeek. They've got great seats available at great prices. You say you might want to go to Penn State later on this year for a ball game? Michigan's going there in November. I highly recommend checking out SeatGeek. They've got great seats, great prices, the best way to go to get your tickets. So if you want to go to Spartan Stadium or if you want to go to the Big House this fall, make sure you check out SeatGeek. And while you're there, use the promo code Captain Lou. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. That's SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek.com, the best place to go to get your tickets for this fall.
It's the biggest game of the year, and your team doesn't have a coach. They don't even have a game plan. You probably aren't feeling very good about their chances. Make sure you're prepared for one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, retirement. Do you have a coach? What about a plan? Set yourself up for success by calling 877-222-8849 and having Mindy and Nolan McIntosh and their team at McIntosh & Associates create your retirement playbook. They'll help you think through taxes, income, legacy planning, and much more. When you're done, you'll have a customized retirement game plan that you can feel confident in. Start planning today with Central Michigan's retirement coaches, Mindy and Nolan McIntosh at McIntosh & Associates. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
To the ACHA Power Play live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. On YouTube, we are powered up, as I mentioned, by Belly Up Sports, bellyupsports.com. Make sure you check out our website. We've got our complete list of all the podcasts that we have, from the 1420 podcast to the Corner Booth podcast, you name it. Fantasy sports, we've got all kinds of lineups for all the sports. Football, basketball starting around the corner, hockey, baseball, you name it. Check out Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for the fantasy show that we've got for fantasy football. It's one of the best. That's at bellyupsports.com. Check out our lineup of shows there. And also read there. We've got such a great array of sports writers on the staff at bellyupsports.com. Any sport you could think of. Hockey, basketball, NASCAR, pro wrestling, baseball with the playoffs going on. The Dodgers trying to take their hands off of their throats with the choke job again. Houston possibly with Texas. But we've got all kinds of sports writers that do a fantastic job, magnificent articles. That's bellyupsports.com. Powering us up here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Again, thanks to Wyatt Waselwenchuk, the head coach of Minot State, the number one team in the ACHA Men's Division 1 in the latest poll. And again, they're the defending champs. Last year, we talked about it. Their win in the championship game, 1-0 over Gary Estalis's Adrian Bulldogs. Before that, overtime against Liberty. And in the quarterfinal game, overtime over Indiana Tech. So they had quite the run, and they're off to a great season. And well, it's exciting talking to them. The schedule they've got with the top teams in the country, then they play in that ACHA showcase. If you're going to be in Chicago the weekend of November 19th, I believe it is, UNLV, a top 5, top 10 team. Arizona State's always up there in the top 20. Ohio, they just had a weekend set with Calvin where they split. Great teams there. It's an awesome showcase. I invite you to check it out. And of course, if you're out in North Dakota, one of the hotbeds of ACHA hockey and college hockey in general, with all the great universities out there. So great showing for them. And they're off to a great start. A great brand of hockey. They play it the right way. And it's fun to see that they're off to a good start. And then, not to mention, coming up, they're going to do an exhibition series 29th and 30th of December, where they're going to play NCAA powerhouse Denver and also Colorado College. So I can't wait to keep an eye on that. We'll have Wyatt on after the first of the year to talk about how that went. And more and more teams starting to do that. I know Arizona State played Arizona, and then coming up, I think in a little less than a month or a month from now at Ferris, Grand Valley is going to be taking on NCAA team Ferris State. So, it's expanding. So we're excited for that. All right. What we'll do right now is we're going to get back to our guest line or guest stage, if you will. Let's bring in from the quote unquote green room. Let's bring in the head coach of the University of Iowa, Kevin Brooks, kind enough to join us. Kevin, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you?
Not too bad. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Talking hockey.
Love it.
Can't beat that right now. Welcome to the show. We got to go back. You got to humor me. We got to talk a little bit about the run you guys had last year. It all started out in the regional tournament as a 9 seed. And Kevin, I don't think enough people realize how difficult a gauntlet it is. Your backs are up against the wall, win or go home. Not only did you have to play 2, but you had to play 3 elimination games just to get to Boston.
Yeah, it was. I don't think a lot of people gave us a shot, to be honest with you there. And, we kind of made the joke, we're playing with house money here. We've got, everybody, nobody's given us a chance. And to be honest, we had a conversation about putting ourselves in that position, our first meeting of the year. And we knew we were going to have to take the hard road to Boston. We were taking the long way. We were taking the bus. We weren't flying there, so, and that's what we did. We kind of prepared for that. And all year, and obviously, it paid off for the boys.
Yeah, it sure did. And then, you got to Boston, and the nice thing that I like about D2 and D3 is you're guaranteed at least 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
You can get some games in there, get a chance to enjoy it, even off the ice a little bit. But you guys took advantage of that, and you made a heck of a run. A 4 seed again, no respect, and I mean, you played like a 1 seed. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we were used to being the underdog all year. If you look at our roster, I think we had, close to 14 freshmen, roughly, or maybe it was 12 freshmen and 14 new guys total, on the squad. And I think everybody was calling it our rebuild year. And that was kind of, our mantra, kind of put that out there is, hey, we got something to prove. Like this isn't our rebuild year.
Right.
We know what we have in this room, and let's put on the blinders and go out and have some fun. And we loved being the underdog. It was absolutely awesome being the underdog, and I think the guys showed it. They liked having that being nobody taking them. I wouldn't say serious, but it's just maybe not getting the respect that we deserve.
Right. It's funny is I think this. You guys stayed in the same hotel that I did in Boston last year, and so I'd get up in the morning, I see the players mingling around, and I got to be honest with you, they had that air of confidence. It wasn't overconfidence, it wasn't braggadocious, but they had that look. And I was very fascinated by that. And I was telling the other broadcasters, I said, these guys are for real, and it was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, honestly, that a lot of that started with our leadership. We had unbelievable leaders last year, and it just kind of buys into our culture. We like to have fun, but we're dialed in. That's kind of been our mantra. Is guys, we're gonna have fun. Let's take it back to when we were all started on the ponds playing with our buddies, and not having that care in the world. But let's just go out and we trained to say that we were going to outwork everybody. We knew we were not the most skilled team, on paper. You could just, look at it on paper. But we knew that we could control and go out and be the hardest working team, and we could control, doing the little detailed things. And for us, that started with doing everything as a team while we were in Boston, and doing everything together from team meals to everything. And that just carried over to the rink.
Right. Well, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to humor me for a minute. I want to go back to the double overtime game and the game-winning goal.
Went up against Cascatrain, and it was won by Indiana. They chop at it in deep in the Indiana zone. 1:50 left. The clock is running here in double overtime. They'll fight for it over now in behind the Indiana bench. They chop at it over there in the near corner. They fight for it now. Here it comes. Brody with a chance up over the top of the goal and behind the net. Oh, it's loose. There's an opportunity. And he scores!
I get chills every time I hear it.
Oh, me too. Me too. Takes me right back.
Scores the game winner. 18:30 into double overtime. And the Iowa Hawkeyes will survive and advance to the championship game against University of Massachusetts. Oh, what a game! What a finish! Wow!
Yeah, so I got to ask you the question that I'll never, whenever I talk to somebody that's been through a 2 or 3 or 4 overtime game, when they asked John Cooper, what was the feeling? And he said, my feet were frozen. Were your feet warm or were they cold after?
Oh no, I was sweating.
That's
my adrenaline, but if we went to another overtime, I don't know if I would have had a voice. I went in to celebrate after and kind of yell, and everybody, we walk in the room and there was a little bit of celebrating going on, but everybody was just sitting, and I went in and I had no voice. That was. We went to another overtime. I would have been using sign language to the boys out there.
I got to tell you, I thought for sure you were going to a third overtime. And, but CJ was right there. And as basic as it is, you tell him, you just park yourself in front of the net and throw it towards it. You just never know.
Yep. That's our we've kind of talked about it, and we actually, we do different plays like that where we throw it off the end wall and have guys right there. And we always say there's no such thing as a bad shot in overtime. It's just got to get there, and then somebody's got to win a battle. And God bless those two, because we were ready to bat. We were done. We didn't want to go to that. I don't think either team wanted to go to that third overtime.
Well, and I know you fell short on the next day. You gave them a hell of a run. But now I think you can look back on it, and it was a great run for you guys. And again, just watching it from being able to share the same motel with your team, and the fan base, the amount of people that came and traveled to watch you guys, that brought a smile to my face. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we had people from everywhere. We had people, we made it to the championship game. We had guys that booked flights that morning to get out there. When we knew we were going to the Frozen Four, Final Four there, we had people booking flights. We had people driving. And for me, so that rink was my home rink. I grew up playing in the New England Sports Center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So actually it's kind of I always tell people the story if they watch the games. If you look, we played in the West Tuttle rink quite a bit.
Yeah.
And West Tuttle was my coach who passed away. And I actually would go and touch the ice every single time between every intermission and kind of say a little prayer. And I'm not going to lie to you. When we beat Indiana, I kind of had a little chuckle in myself. We weren't playing in the West Tuttle rink, but the West Tuttle Zamboni was there, and I used to go in the back corner during every intermission, and I kind of made eye contact with his little sign on the Zamboni. I said, "Just give us one more, Wes." And sure enough, we scored. And I was like, it's the hockey gods, man. It was somebody was on our side, and it was just, so I had friends and family there and people I grew up playing with. And people just, who doesn't love the underdog story? That's the other thing we had. We had adult league guys that were sitting there watching our games and they didn't want to leave. And when they heard the background and the story, they were like, this is awesome.
Oh, heck yeah. So you had a heck of a run. And now I kind of follow you guys on social media and was watching the posts and everything. And it had to have been a great summer for you leading up to this year to kind of, it looks like you've kept the fan base going into this year.
Yeah, it's growing. It's been pretty cool, and it's just so fun for the guys. When we're out recruiting, we're in a little different situation than some of these other teams. We don't have a home rink and different things, and what we tell them is you're going to get a pretty cool college experience. You're going to get people that are asking, for you put the Hawkeye on something and people get behind it. And then to see what we did last year, and we were able to raise the money, so we were actually able to go. People just got behind us, and they're still with us. That's the best part.
Kevin, I want to go back to that real quick, and then I promise we'll talk about this year. I've noticed this covering the D3 in the Grand Rapids area and D2 for a number of years. You find that you go through regionals, and all of a sudden it's like, the euphoria is there, and then all of a sudden the reality hits. It's like, oh my gosh, we got to come up with $20,000 in a matter of days, and that's no easy task. And my hat's off. I salute, man. That's amazing how the schools like yourself have to do that in such a short window.
Yeah, it was all hands on deck. And I'll be honest, doing some of that social media stuff and all that, it paid off.
Sure.
We reached out to people, and people had been kind of following our story, and they wanted to see us go on, and they understand at that point it's about these kids, and it's, I don't know, I think people really got bought in. It's even bigger than the game. It was about the kids. They've deserved it. They worked hard. They beat all the odds. Like, how do we get these kids to live this out? And everybody stepped up. And we, like I said, we can't thank the people enough that helped us out, because those kids are going to walk together. It's memories that, I'll never forget. I'd feel so honored as a coach to have been part of it. And for these kids, it's the best thing ever.
So now you fast forward to this year. You guys are off. The boys are off to a great start, 6-0. It's going good for you so far. What do you got a good core back from last year's run, or do you got a good mix of incoming freshmen? Talk a little bit about the team you got so far this year.
A little bit of everything. We got a lot of
Right.
guys back, but some younger. We don't have very many upper. We only have 2 seniors.
Okay.
And we only have a couple of juniors. Last year we had over, we had 12 freshmen. And what we did is we were able to had some transfers. We had 2 kids come in from Lindenwood. We had a kid come in from Bowling Green. We had somebody transfer in from D1 Illinois State. And then I'm a firm believer, and it's how I do my recruiting. Good players know good players.
Yeah.
So we were able to pick up some kids there that, had been up visiting and seeing the stuff we did last year. And, when the opportunity arose, they jumped at it to come to Iowa. So that works out. And I mean, it's great. Our young guys, they matured quick, and they kind of fast forward to, I kind of look at it. They went from freshmen to juniors because they were in the lineup. They were thrown to the wolves. Everybody played. For the most part, almost every returner this year was in a part of that run. So they know what it takes. They know the battle, the stuff on your body. I mean, you look at all the overtime games, it's beating Adrian and regionals. There's just so much that goes into it. So I feel like they're a lot more mature hockey wise. So we're very lucky on that part. And there's still some growing pains for us. And also, one of our big messages has been, last year's team is last year's team. We got to create our own identity, and we got to move forward here and create our story. It's time for us, let's write our story with the group we have.
Kevin Brooks is joining us here on the ACHA Power Play, the head coach of the University of Iowa. Men's Division II off to a 6-0 start. I see at the top of the list, Brian Raffone has got 11 points already. CJ Parisi up there again. Jack Roush, some names. And then Justin Howard and net looks like he's doing real well again this year too.
Yeah, Howie's our rock. It's going to be tough losing him. He's one of those 2 seniors, so that's going to be a tough. Yeah, that's those are some big shoes to fill. And CJ, I can't say enough about him. He has made some of the most improvement. He's playing the best hockey I've ever seen him play here. Okay. He's just come in that the confidence he gained in that run last year has been awesome. Raffone's picking right up where he left off. But as a whole, you look at our team here. Sometimes you have some guys that maybe stand out a little bit here and there, but you look at our points, just like it was last year. We only had a couple of guys over 20 points, but we had 4 even lines. And this year, I think you'll see our defense spread out. We really made some strides on our back end. But we're not I always tell people we're not a two-line team or different things like that. There's no difference between my first line and my fourth line. And there's a bunch of different guys get shots on the power play depending on who's doing what that week at practice. So we're not a superstar team. We're one team here, with a bunch of guys that are all chasing that one goal.
Well, Kevin, I don't care. The years that I've done, again, covered these tournaments and D2 and D3, especially pool play, and in the regular season, the teams with 1 line or maybe 2, and that's it. They don't make it. And the type of team that you've got is built greatly for tournament play come the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean that's what we tell our guys. And it's hard for the new guys to understand that, but everybody's got to buy into the role. And I always tell everybody we're playing these games, and I love when we go to overtime in the regular season, or we're down by a goal or 2, because it's that adversity that's going to help you in February and March. That's what you're doing. I always tell guys we got to take the steps to put us in the position to have the opportunity to play in those tournaments at the end of the year. But if we're building and we're trying to build a team that's going to be built for that, because it's a grind, as we learned last year, and that's, I kind of feel like when we ran into a very good UMass team. Let me tell you that those boys were good, but we didn't have anything in the tank, and it's something we learned from too, and doing a little bit more conditioning and different things like that. So if we get another shot at it, hopefully we're a little bit more prepared.
Well, I did see something on your stat sheet, and this is something I do every year. I give an award out to the highest scoring goalie, and I see Justin's already got 1 point. So if he's watching, Are you gonna if it's got an open net down on the other end, you're gonna let him shoot one?
Oh God, yeah. I am all about. I am one of those guys. I love that kind of stuff. I breathe. I tell you, creative. Let's do everything, and absolutely go for it.
All right, awesome. So with the, I was asking Wyatt in the last half hour. One of the things I noticed throughout the season, like I mentioned him, it's a long season. My gosh, you guys had your first game 6 weeks ago. Do you, with the course of the season, do you worry about a lull anywhere during the middle of the year?
No, we do. The reason why we start earlier in different things, we give a couple, like we just, we had a 2-week break where we just practiced. And the reason why I do that is it's this time of year where guys come down with the flu. They got their midterms. There's all these different things. So we've learned over the past, you can't go top heavy with all these different games because guys they do get burnt out. But with the injuries and the flu, and there's just all this different things that we may start a little bit earlier, but we spread it out. Because if you look, we still don't play. I mean, there's teams that almost double up on the amount of games we play, even though we start a little bit earlier. And I like to give them a little bit longer of a break over Christmas because it is a grind. And I just feel like when they go home, especially for the younger guys, this is all new to them. So I really think it's important for them to get home and see their family and kind of decompress a little bit so they come back and they're excited. They're not like, hockey, because we always come back a week early, before their break is. And I want them to be excited, like they can't wait to get back.
And one of the other things that is important too is these kids, this is, for a lot of them, this is the end of the run. And the education's important. And I marvel at their discipline that they have, because a lot of times you guys, the practice times aren't the greatest. So you got to you're either late at night or early in the morning. And, my hat's off to the kids for how they can do it.
Yeah, we always tell them, guys, hey, when you look at it, they don't say athlete student, they call it a student athlete. And first and foremost, you may have come here for hockey or different things, but at the end of the year, you're leaving with that piece of paper and something that sets you up, hopefully, for the rest of your life, or at least to start your life. So we're huge on that. And our guys know there's no, like tonight I had a guy text me. He's like, hey coach, I know it's our last night of practice before a game, but I really got to study. I got to test up. No worries. And it doesn't affect their, I always tell them that your academics come first, and they understand, because I do the same thing. They are just, the discipline you have to have it's tremendous.
You said you played in the Boston area. Tell us a little bit about your playing experience coming up to, and then up to your, where you're at now as a head coach.
So I played out east. I played at Lawrence Academy Prep School. And then from there, I came out and played in Cedar Rapids out here in the USHL for the Rough Riders for 2 years. And then I went back out and played hockey east at Providence. Ended up getting some injuries, and my career was cut short. Got into coaching. At the time, it was the AJ. Now it's like the EHL type, NCDC mixture there. So I was coaching with the Walpole Express, and then got a call from Coach Carlson, and I kind of talked to him a little bit here with the USHL, and was able to come out and be the hockey director, and be an assistant coach with them for a few years. And then Iowa came knocking, and I had started, had a family at the time, and the travel is a lot. The hours was a little bit. So it was a good opportunity for me to kind of take a step back from some of the other things I was doing, and join the Hawkeyes. And I've been here, I think I've been here since 2011.
Wow. Good for you.
I've had took off a year or two here and there, but overall been here a long time. It's been a long time.
Providence split with my Wolverines this past weekend.
I did. Saw that. I saw that.
They looked good the first night.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So, all right. So that I got to ask you, who's your team in the NHL? Please don't tell me it's the Bruins.
Gotta be. You kidding me?
I knew it.
Bro, gotta be the Bruins. Kidding me? One of my kids is named after Cam Neely.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, Cam Neely is my favorite player, and
oh boy,
I got a Cam here.
There you go. So. That's awesome. Well, Kevin, I know you got to get ready for practice. I appreciate you taking time out tonight to be with us. This has been a treat. Thank you so much. Talking about the run, and good luck this year. I'm really looking forward to watching from afar to see how you guys do. And, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll see you in St. Louis in March.
Sounds good to me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Have a good one.
You too. Kevin Brooks, the head coach of the University of Iowa, taking time out to be with us. What a fun interview. And again, what a heck of a run that they had last year. And we talk about it a lot on the previous years. The run for men's Division II with the regional setup. D3 used to have it for the men, but you start out in pool or regionals, 4 regionals across the United States, and the top 2 teams in each region get the automatic bye to the nationals. Well, then 3 through 14 have to run a little gauntlet, each of the 4 regions. And Iowa was a 9 seed, so that meant they had to play 3 games back to back to back, win or go home, and they made it. And then they went to nationals to pool play where they were a 4 seed, which, once you get to nationals, you can be a 4 seed, and I'm not taking anything away from the Cinderella run, but when you're playing each other. So in each pool, you got to win the games no matter what. But it's a little better, the seeding's a little better, obviously, if you're a 1 seed. But they went through unscathed, and then what a game in that semifinal game against Indiana. And the community there is really taken a love to them, and it's justified. He has a heck of a program there, and it's going to be fun to watch. As I mentioned, watch them from afar here where I'm at as they continue their run, undefeated right now at 6-0, and looking to keep it going. Wow, what a great show. Again, this is the ACHA Power Play. We're going to be here every other Wednesday through the end of November, and then once after Thanksgiving, we're going to be here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock for the road to St. Louis. It's going to be March 7th through the 17th for all 5 divisions. And it's the men's D1, D2, D3, women's D1 and D2. And again, for those of you that haven't watched the show before, we're going to have coaches each week on the show, or each show, and try to get some players. We'll have some administrators come on talking what we love, ACHA hockey. And again, it's great to have you stop on by and check us out. Tell me what you think. Drop me an email, sweetlou1965@yahoo.com, or again, follow us on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, at The Real Captain Lou, or my Instagram and Facebook, Louis Gamlin, or again, my other Facebook page, The Captain Lou Extravaganza. So, all right. Wow. The show's flown by. We're going to call it a night. And again, congratulations to Minot State right now, the number 1 team in the land. We'll go through those rankings real quick again. I'll see if I can bring them up here on my screen. And if you didn't see them, I might even be able to share them real quick before we call it a day. Let's see what we got here. All right. Again, those are the rankings for the men's D1. You can see them right there. Minot State, Adrian, Ohio, Liberty, Central Oklahoma, UNLV, Jamestown, Niagara, Maryville, and Calvin in the top 10. And then you can see from there, Grand Valley, Indiana Tech, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Illinois State, Michigan Dearborn, Arizona State, Purdue Northwest, Stony Brook, Utah, Mary, Lawrence Tech, Missouri State, Rhode Island, and of course, Grand Canyon rounding out the top 25. All right. Again, thanks everybody for joining us here tonight on the show. It's been a pleasure. We want to thank Wyatt Waselwenchuk from Minot State, the Beavers, the defending men's champions in Division I, and of course, Kevin Brooks, the head coach of the University of Iowa. All right. That's going to do it for tonight. This reminder, everybody, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, but more importantly, keep your mind open. Thanks for joining us on the ACHA Power Play. Until next time, Captain Lou saying so long.